week of the day 39. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Anyways, I got good news. Good news. I got bored of playing with that iReal Pro track with the A blues, so I got my friend Doug Ross, who lives in DC, to do the bass tracks for me. And so if you're a Patreon member, you have a new track that you can jam with, okay? And I changed it a little bit because, we did like a real simple blues up to this point. But now, look back there. We got a new blues. Look, it's got no quick change, right? It's got the 4 and the 5 chord, just like the last one did. But then what happens is that it's got the 5 chord and the 4 chord. Remember the last time we stayed on that 5 chord for 2 bars? Now it's got the 5 chord, it goes to the 4 chord, and it's got like a little turnaround at the end. So this is pretty much, 90% or 80% of the blues that you're going to get. Of course, you get the quick change a lot too, but, this is like one of the main kinds of blues that you're going to have to play over. So we're going to change directions a little bit here. And I'm going to explain to you about how to superimpose some different arpeggios for a jazzy sound. All right, so look, we're going to play blues in G, right? So we have a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord, obviously. And so that's going to be G7 is the 1 chord, right? Next, we got the C7, which is the 4 chord. And we got a D7, which is the 5 chord. Now, even though we call this the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, the truth is that if 1 chords are usually not dominant chords, right? Only in the blues. So if you want to get more ideas how to play over these chords, doing some sort of sophisticated jazzy sounds, you can think of these as all 5 chords. And today we're working on the 1 chord pretty much. So look, you have to know this. This is like the trick to everything. If you can identify these chords and you know this in and out, you'll have a lot of luck coming up with great ideas for the blues. So look, here's the 5 chord, right? So if we're talking about a G blues, that G7 would be really, you can think about it being here in a way, right? And when you do that, what's going to happen? Well, that makes this the key of C then, right? So this would be C major 7, if we want to think in, 7th chords, right? This would be D minor 7. This would be E minor 7. This would be F major 7. This would be A minor 7. This would be B minor 7. B minor 7 flat 5. Okay? So this is the way that you can think about this if you want to sort of expand beyond just playing the pentatonic scale or the blues scale. Okay, so now if I have to get into some more detail, in all honesty, any of these arpeggios could sort of be played over this chord in one respect or another. But a common way to think about this is that if we look at this G7 chord, we can think it about like this, right? This is a G, that's the root, the 3rd, the 7th, the 5th, and the 7th, right? The flat 7, right? So let's write it here, okay? Look, 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Those are the notes in a G7 chord. So one common way of coming up with arpeggio ideas is that you can play one of these diatonic arpeggios off of each note in that chord. So, playing it off of this note is obvious. You're just going to play a G7 arpeggio over that. And that's like normal, right? I mean, that's like standard fare approaches for, standard old-fashioned type of blues or even jazz blues. But what happens if we play an arpeggio off the 3rd? Well, look, 3rd of this chord. Look, there it is. You get a B minor 7. That's a B minor 7 flat 5, right? So what is this going to create? You have to think about it that way. Well, it's got a B, a D, an F, and an A, which gives it sort of like a G9 sound, right? It's got that A on the top, right? So what about this one? D minor 7. That's D, F, and A. So if we play a D minor 7, well, the D is the 5th, the F is the flat 7, the A is the 9th, and then we also got the 11th. So this is going to be sort of a sophisticated sound here, right? This is going to give you the sound of like a G, G, sort of like a G9 sus 4 kind of sound, right? Now, what about this F? It's that, right? So look, that's going to give us an F major 7. Well, G. So you're going to play a major 7 arpeggio over a dominant chord. What kind of craziness is that? But it's great because, you know, that major 7 arpeggio sound is going to, you know, have a real major kind of flavor to it over a dominant chord. So that's cool, right? So look, what does that mean? Well, the F would be the flat 7. The A in this arpeggio would be the 9th. The C in this F major 7 arpeggio, the C would be the 11th, right? Or like a sus 4. And the E would be like a 13th. So you're going to get like this sort of G, 13 sound with like a suspended 4th in there. So that's a very sophisticated sound. And that's what we're going to do in today's lick of the day. We're going to play this arpeggio over this chord. And it gives some like really surprising results. So let me get to that on the other side over here. All right. So now remember, let's just experiment a little bit here. Remember I said that on that G7, if you want to think about it as the 5 chord in the key of C, you have 4 different arpeggios that you can play. For the sake of this lesson anyways, there's other ones too, but you play a diatonic arpeggio on the root. The root is G, so we play a G7 chord, arpeggio. Right, next, on the third, the third is B minor 7 flat 5 in this key, so that would be sounding like this. Right, that's a cool sound, right? Next, the D minor 7 over the G7 chord. Next, the one we're doing for this lesson is the F major 7 played over this G7 chord. That's like a really kind of modern, sophisticated sound, and so that's what we're doing here. Now, before we I demonstrate this for you. I wrote the rhythm there because I want to show you something here, and I want to play this so that D note, where is the D note? Right here, gets played right on that beat. So what we're going to do is we're going to count it. If you look at the rhythm, it goes like this: 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be, the next note, going to be the 5 chord, so it's going to like this. That's how the lick goes. So, and when we get to the 5 chord, watch. For the C chord, I'm going to go the other way. Using contrary motion. Bach would be happy. He'd be like going, yeah, Chris, contrary motion, that's the way to go, bro. So, that's the lick. Let me show you it again. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and so that's the way this lick is going to work. But that being said, I forgot. I turned the thing off, and then I remembered that I forgot something. I'm a guitar player, right? So if you play jazz guitar, you're not going to be doing a lot of bending. Well, you could, but jazz guitar players, strangely enough, unlike jazz saxophone players, don't bend so much. So this would be, if you want to play like it like a jazz player would, right? It's a jazz sound. Right? But since, even though I consider myself, sort of a pseudo jazz guitar player, but more of a blues guitar player, I'm gonna like bend. So this is how I play. Okay, so let me play this for you. So don't forget, these lessons are on Patreon, right? If you want the PDF and the backing track. This is a new backing track, so if you want to go and get it so you can jam along, go over there. But also, if you want to help promote these lessons, then, that $5 a month, helps me out and helps keep me motivated to keep doing these. And, my whole goal is to, make American music, popular everywhere, and to keep the blues alive and other kinds of American music. So that's a good way to help support. Do it. If you don't have the resources, don't worry about it. Have fun and, learn it and, pass the lessons around, to help out. But, something to keep in mind anyway. So have a nice day.